What's up, y'all? Back at it. So I've got a video that's obviously Patrick Bet David, PBD, on the PBD podcast, doing big things. His setup looks different every time I see him. I know that this video is about Miley Cyrus and how she lost everything due to fame. So I think it's only a few minutes long, 5 minutes. So we'll get through this. Hope everybody's having a great night. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe and like button, please. Trying to get your boy into the stratosphere so we can do big things and start giving back. But without further ado, let's get off into this.
Rob, I saw a clip with Miley Cyrus. If you want to play this clip, it's a very good clip for people to watch. Go for it, Rob. Miley Cyrus talks about how embarrassed she is on some of the stuff she did that she embarrassed her family.
Play the clip.
Watch this.
Play the clip.
Everything because of the choices I was making professionally. I was engaged at the time. That didn't work out because I was sharing a part of myself that men wanted to be saved for them only. And the fact that I would pose nude or dance in very little clothes or...
She's talking about, I feel like she might be talking about Liam Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth, who played Thor, and I think he was also in the very first Star Trek movie. I guess he was the captain before Chris Pine was in the new Star Trek reboot. But I feel like she's talking about Liam Hemsworth, and he just didn't want a 304. He didn't want, I mean, Miley went wild. Miley went buck wild, and obviously she justified it to herself like any of us would, right? You know, when you're a superstar like Christina Aguilera or Britney Spears, I gotta imagine, or Pink, or any of these women rock stars, you know, Cardi B, men, a lot of men that value themselves, they're not going to be super happy with a woman that is giving so much of her body to the fans. And I get that. Is there a way to do it? I think you have to be a lot more conservative. Look at like somebody like Jewel, who's been, I might react to one of her videos. Look at somebody like Jewel, who's now posting more videos online again. For you young kids, maybe you don't know who Jewel is, but she's a really amazing kind of pop folk singer, and I've seen her doing some more drops. I don't know how many views they've been getting, but or Nora Jones, or kind of a lot of more of these mature adult contemporary artists. Definitely different than the pop music like Miley Cyrus. So
show my body was making them feel like I was taking something away that was meant to be for them. It was really hard for me to go home and see my dad and like look him in the eye.
I mean, and she says that she by her tone, she's making it seem like maybe they're not right. But I have to think, if you were a guy and you were stripping in front of, I mean, taking off all your clothes and having all of these women fawn after you, I don't think that's gonna feel good to anybody. Just with all due respect to Miley, I love Miley.
Eyes and not feel super embarrassed. Seeing my grandparents was just mortifying. There was even a time where my brother...
So her family obviously felt the same way.
And sister didn't want to go to school because of how humiliated they were to be related to me. I lost everything because of the choices I was making professionally.
Isn't that freaking powerful? I didn't want to tell you guys I'm going to play this clip.
I mean, not only is that amazing, I was one of those people, I'll be honest, this is years ago, I would judge her. I'd be like, you were Hannah Montana. I would go onto the studio.
See, I wouldn't judge her, but you know, because I had already seen it with Christina Aguilera. Christina Aguilera, most people actually, right, guys? If you're over 30, you understand you go through these phases in life. So pop stars are no different. You go through these phases in life where you just kind of want to realize different aspects of yourself. Not everybody goes through it. A lot of people, I won't say succumb to the fear, but maybe they just don't have that desire to show that part of themselves. I know me, I think everyone has, a lot of people, I should say, have that exhibitionism in them where they want to, at some point in their lives, usually in the first 30 years sometime, you know, after they're 18, but until 30 or 40 or 50, they want to just let people see them and be appreciated for their physical qualities, even if they're not conventionally attractive, whatever it is. Just as a human, you want to kind of let people see you for who you are, for how God created you.
Said my friend, my really good friend, I won't even say her name, she was like wardrobe and everything for Hannah Montana. She signed something, right, for my niece to have as Hannah Montana, and then she shifted, and it was thong and grabbing her stuff, and I was like, I was back then, and it's not a Christian thing, but I wasn't all in on Christianity. I was judging her. But for her to have that moment where it's like, oh my goodness, what happened? That's recreating yourself. That's growing as a human being, Pat. That's freaking amazing and good for her. And not a lot of people come to that moment, Tom, where they're like, oh my God, is that me? Is that what I was doing? I've been there. I saw myself on camera. I'm like, oh my God, am I?
So he's kind of painting it as a juvenile thing. Like I said, I don't think it's necessarily that, but I don't think you can be upset when you have a partner that decides they don't want to be with you because of what you're doing. And I think that's a legitimate complaint. Now she's going to explain it in her way, and I thought she was actually pretty objective about it too. It was just, I was kind of listening to her tone. It sounded like she was kind of looking at it like it, when she was describing her lover, it was like she was saying it kind of wasn't her fault, or they should have maybe been a little bit more lenient, but I'm obviously reading a lot into tone there.
And those are the wake-up calls that you need to see.
Reconciliation is one of the most beautiful things on this planet. And Jesus Christ gives us the opportunity to reconcile with him in our eternity. And I hope that she's reconciled with
That's what the
family.
cross is all about.
We've all seen all the things.
Two different directions. Your perspective, my perspective, and the ability to see both of those. That's forgiveness. That's reconciliation. That's what I think.
I remember seeing a interview, Pat, with Billy Ray Cyrus. And he was emotional because he was very hurt because he wondered if his little girl, if she was ever going to maybe get it together and come back in relationship. And I hope that this is a sign that this reconciliation.
Come on, Billy Ray Cyrus. I mean, maybe they were going through some things, but he's kind of conflating it that she was going through this phase that he wasn't happy about because maybe he was ashamed. Maybe she was showing too much skin. Billy Ray Cyrus, come on. That guy, achy breaky heart, he went crazy too. I mean, as a father, maybe he's thinking, I don't want her to go through what I went through, but as an artist, he should understand that this is probably legitimately good for her to go through her expressions. She didn't do anything crazy, did she?
Is all complete.
Yeah.
And she was wearing a very covered shirt. I don't know.
Beautiful. I love it.
Why did you want to play this? Just so I'm curious.
I think there's a lot of women that need to be inspired by people like this to say.
There is a double standard though, right? I mean, look, I believe in modesty and people having class and self-respect, but I think there is a time and a place for everything, right? I mean, the human body is beautiful and we can get a little wild. You just have to be careful about the context you do it in. And women get held up to such a high standard. I think there's a give and a take for both genders, right? Women, maybe a lot of times in relationships, they're they just want to be pleased, and that can be a problem because guys can think they need to be more accountable, which can legitimately be true. But then at the same time, when they do play into this attention-seeking behavior, then they get penalized for not being modest. So what's left for them is this really small sliver of life, and that's kind of a dismal existence. You know, guys have their own kind of two sides. I don't know if that made sense, but I think personally, and I'll talk about this a lot more as I continue to post more content, but my view on gender and things is a lot more nuanced than almost every other creator I see online. I think people start creating content and then because they want to be viral and get clicks, a lot of people start playing into the same tropes and same ideas. And I think that's happened a lot with the men and women content that's out there. So it's not to say that I don't agree with a lot of stuff that's out there. It's just to say I think there's a little bit more of a nuance. And if you subscribe to my channel, Violet Voyage, you'll see it says in the description, LG Shirley dives deep into nuanced conversation. And so that's really what I'm trying to bring to the world, is a more nuanced approach to thinking. That's how we discover new viewpoints, and those viewpoints can take hold once uncovered and possibly be the new viewpoint that maybe the mass gloms onto. So, whereas if you just keep regurgitating all the same talking points, you're never going to figure out something new. And granted, a lot of times through history, a lot of things have already been discovered, but that doesn't mean that there's not something new out there sometimes. So, again, I hope that made sense.
Hey, I showed everything, and I became one of the most famous people in the world, and I was wrong. I think that's powerful.
Did she
I
say?
think a lot of people need to go through with them.
Did she say that though? Is he putting words in her mouth? Did she say she was wrong?
Themselves before they listen to people's advice. Like you always say, more is caught than taught, right? I think there's going to be girls that see this. There's a lot of girls on OnlyFans. There's a lot of girls showing their thongs and doing their everything on Instagram. And until life smacks them in the face, until a guy breaks up with them because he cares about their past more than their future, more than their past. I think there's a ton of women that need to receive this message, but a lot of times it's going to be too late. By the way, same for men. A lot of men need to go through things, and you say, don't do this, don't do this. Some people need to put their hand on the stove before they learn the lesson. That's my opinion.
All I want to say is good for you, Miley. I hope you go through this mindset.
Right. You have to, as long as you're not hurting anyone, sometimes experience is the best teacher. And the things you learn from that are priceless. And I mean, wouldn't it be amazing if people could just talk ahead of time and allow their partner to grow? It needs to be a lot more talking, a lot more accountability on both sides, and a lot more people allowing to grow. I mean, look, they say, that gives me a little bit more spiritual wiggle room. They say I'm in my 40s, and when I talk to the old people, then it lets me kind of say, well, maybe this is my second or third time around, so you don't know how old I am. But being where I'm at in life, the age I'm at, it seems like only now am I really starting to understand things looking forward and looking back. So I got a lot of sympathy and empathy for everyone under 40. I mean, I think you just have to live life, love it, and enjoy it, and not take things too seriously. Hopefully you're not born with too much intergenerational trauma and you can fix that. I mean, stuff with your parents, and then you can just live life and enjoy it and kind of figure it out for all of its magical wonders.
You can really impact many people's lives. We got a lot of messages, Pat. You know, Monday, who do I go to if we don't have the podcast we were expecting? We changed the business podcast. Yes.
All right, he's doing the same thing I'm doing, talking about stuff.
And I'm grateful for you and for the 51% of you guys that subscribing to the channel.
Okay, he stuck on some of his messaging there at the end. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you tomorrow. Check out the other videos if this was the only one you tuned in for. I'll be making a lot more drops in the future and just continuing to figure out the stream. Love you guys. I'm going to chunk that deuce, and I'm going to catch you in the next episode. Manyansky.